The Demon, written by Mikhail Lermontov, read by Sterling Wright. An Eastern Story, Part 1. A demon, soul of all the banished, sadly above the sinful world floated, and thoughts of days now vanished, before him erodingly unfurled. Days when, in glory's habitation, he shone out a pure cherubim, when comets flying on their station rejoiced to exchange a salutation of welcome and of love with him. When through the vapors of creation, hungry for knowledge, he flew on, with caravans in their migration, to space where headlong stars have gone, with love and faith to lean upon. Happy firstborn of our condition, he knew no evil, no suspicion, his mind undaunted by the length of fruitless eons sadly falling. So much there was, the strength. The will now fails him for recalling. He wandered, now long since outcast. His desert had no refuge in it, and one by one the ages passed. As minute follows after minute, each one monotonously dull. The world he ruled was void and null. The ill he sowed in his existence brought no delight. His technique scored. He found no traces of resistance, yet evil left him deeply bored. Above the steep Caucasian places, heaven's expatriate flew full pelt. Below him Kazbek's diamond faces glittered with snows that never melt, and far beneath them, dark, arresting, as some crevice where snakes are nesting, Dariel wound its twisted belt, and Terek, lioness-like, was springing, shaggily maned all down its back. It roared, and mountain beasts and swinging birds, high on their circuitous track, in the azure heard its lilting water, and clouds from far-off southern lands escorted him in golden bands towards horizon's northern quarter. And closely packed massifs of stone, deep sunk in their mysterious dreaming, had bowed their heads as he had flown above the bed where waves were gleaming, and towered castles on the hard precipice top. Above the entry to Caucasus in clouds stood guard, grim as some cyclopean sentry. How strange, how savage was the whole divine landscape, but that proud soul viewed with disdain and some derision the product of his Maker's will. His lofty forehead, at this vision, expressed no thought, exactly nil. Before him now the picture changes, a different scene, a brilliant hue, luxurious Georges, vales, and ranges are counterpanned out for his view. Fortunate land, and sumptuous too, pillar-like, ruined halls and granges, and watercourses that run loud over the dappled pebbles rolling, and nightingales that in the crowd of roses voice their amorous trolling, to which no answer is allowed. Plane trees inside their ivy sheathing, with branching shadows, caves where deer at flaming midlay hide their fear, and life and sound of leaves, and glow 100 tongues that murmur low, and plants in thousands gently breathing. The sensual heat of high noondays, nights which the never-failing sprays of dew have drenched in aromatic, and stars like eyes, clear and dramatic, sharp as a Georgian maiden's gaze. And yet, apart from envy's chilling, this natural glory could inspire the barren exile with no thrilling of new emotion or new fire, and everything he contemplated he either scorned or execrated. A lofty hall, a broad courtyard, grey-haired Goodall built for his pleasure. The building cost his slaves much treasure of tears and labour long and hard. His towers in light of morning barred with stripes of shade the mountain fairway. Out of the cliffs was hacked a stairway, from where the angled bastions gleam down to the river, Goodall's daughter, white-veiled and flashing like a dream, Princess Tamara, seeking water, runs down to the Aragvas stream. from the steep mountain every minute the voiceless house stares at the vale. Today, though, there's a feast. Pipes wail, the hall resounds, wine's flowing in it, for Godol has betrothed his girl. The whole clan's here, all's in a whirl. Up on the roof among her bidden girl-friends, the bride looks on the hall. Sitting on rugs they sing and call and play. Already sunk and half hidden by distant peaks, the sun's half ball, to keep the measure of their singing, the girls clap hands. The youthful bride takes up her tambourine and swinging it round her head and sweeping wide circles, abruptly starts to glide. One moment like a bird she dashes and swoops. The next she stands at gaze, and her moist eyes dart out their rays from underneath malicious lashes. And now she twitches a dark brow, now suddenly she stops her gliding, and halts, and makes a little bow. Meanwhile a heavenly foot is sliding over the carpet. Infantile is the enjoyment in her smile. Even the moonbeams, fitful shivers, play on water, can't in truth rival that peerless smile. It quivers as full of joy as life or youth. I swear it on the morning star, on rays of sunset or of dawning, never did autocrat of far golden Iran or earthly czar kiss such an eye on sultry morning. No sparkling fount of the harem ever in summertime was splashing a waist so heavenly in the flashing, the pearly dewfall of its stream. Or by no human fingers pressing a loved one's brow in their caressing, was ever hair like this undone, since earth lost heaven. With humble duty, I swear it, never did such beauty blossom beneath the southern sun. She'd dance no more. Alas, there waited a different morrow. She was fated, she, heiress of the celebrated Godol, she, lively freedom's own, nursling to grim incarceration, vowed to a strange expatriation, and to a family unknown. Sometimes a secret hesitation obscured the brilliance of her face, and with her every single motion was so compact of inner notion, full of such sweet and simple grace, that if the demon, as he floated above, had looked upon the bride, thinking of brothers once devoted, he would have turned away and sighed. And he did see her. For a second, by turmoil too deep to be reckoned, the demon sensed that he was bound. His dumb soul's emptiness was slowly filled with loud chords of blissful sound, and once again he reached that holy shrine where love, beauty, goodness gleam, and long he gazed with fascination at the sweet view, as if in a dream. His earlier bliss's constellation came as on summons from afar, and swam before him, star on star. Then, riveted by unseen forces, he came to feel a new sorrow. Emotion started on discourses, in language that he used to know. Was this a sign of new begetting? The cunning covetousness whetting? Words came no more. Had he forgot? God never gave that, and he'd not at any price except forgetting. At sunset, spurring on his beast, the bridegroom to the wedding feast, with all impatient haste was riding, and the green banks of brightly gliding Aragva he had safely gained. Behind him staggered, limped and strained, an endless line of camels bringing his wedding gifts in towering load. They gleamed, and all their bells were ringing as they strung out along the road. Sindal's lord himself was heading the sumptuous caravan. His waist inside its belt is tightly laced. Sabre and dagger mounts are shedding the sun's reflections. His flintlock, slung back, has notches on its stock. And in the wind his sleeves are straying, sleeves of a chukka that all round with trimming of galloon is crowned. A saddle where bright silks are playing, a bit with tassels downward swaying, and, lathered under him, his bold charger with that rare hue of gold, Karabak's brave offspring, ears with tension pricked, all taut in apprehension, snorts as he squints down in the gloom on the careering river's spume, a path to make the bravest shiver. The cliff to leftward, deep as doom, to right the chasm of the wild river. It's late. On snowy peaks the sliver of radiance fades, mists rise apace, the caravan begins to race. A wayside chapel. Here is sleeping, since days of old, in God's good keeping, now sanctified and ancient prince, cut down by vengeance, ever since, heading for feast or bloody fighting. Here, as he hurried on his way, the traveller never missed inditing the strongest prayer that he could say. That prayer, so fervently directed, kept him from Moslem's knife protected. But the bold bridegroom now disdained the right his forefathers maintained. The crafty demon with infernal reveries had tempted him in thought. Beneath the gloom, the shades nocturnal, it was his sweetheart's lips he sought. But suddenly, ahead, a figure. No, two, no, more. A shot, whose trigger, in clinking stirrups rising now, ramming his fur cap on his brow, the dauntless prince in silence lifted his Turkish whip. It flashed, it whirred, crack went the lash. He spoke no word, as eagle-like he swooped, he shifted. Another shot, a screaming man. Then from the valley dull groans rendered the still of night. The Georgians ran. The battle all too soon was ended. Now calm returned. The sheepish flock of camels on the road, in shock, gazed back upon the dead, astounded, and still in the steep of steep and rock, dully their little bells resounded. The sumptuous caravan was sacked. Above those Christian corpses packed, the bird of night invigilated. No peaceful sepulture awaited their bodies in some cloister's trust, where rested their forefathers' dust. No sisters and no mothers, trailing lengths of impenetrable veiling, with sobs and prayers and sighs and wailing, visit their graves and mourn their loss. And yet, by loving hands erected here at the highway verge, protected by the steep cliff, there stands a cross. In spring the amorous neglected ivy, in emerald nets displayed, clasps it in tenderest embraces, and, turning in from far-off places, the walker, tired from long grade, rests in the consecrated shade. Swift as deer the horse is rushing, snorting as if for battle, hushing. Sometimes he halts in mid-career, blows out his nostrils wide in fear, and listens to the breezes sighing. Now thunderously his hooves are flying, beating tattoos of rhythmic sort, his mane all tangled widely spraying. He gallops on without a thought. He bears a silent horseman, swaying across the saddle, or, down-pressed, collapsed upon that golden crest. His hand no longer steers the bridle, feet in the stirrups are thrust back, blood streams are flowing, broad and idle, across the cloth of his shabrack. Brave galloper, you brought your master out from the battle like a dart, but the Osentane's bullet, faster than you, in darkness found his heart. In Godol's hall there's grief and moaning, the guests swarm out to the courtyard. Whose charger, broken past atoning, outside the gates has fallen so hard? And who's the lifeless rider? Traces of war's alarm lurk in the spaces of his dark-favoured, furrowed brow. On clothes, on weapons, blood is freezing. His hand, in a last furious squeezing, upon the mane is frozen now. Oh, not for long the bride had waited her young groom's coming, and at least, his princely word unviolated, he galloped to the wedding feast. Alas, No more that brave, hard-bitten charger shall bear him. So it's written. Heaven's punishment like thunder swooped down on that family. So light-hearted, pitiable, Tamara drooped onto her bed. She sobbed, then started. Suddenly, tear on rolling tear. Her bosom labored, breath oppressed her, when, from above, a voice addressed her. She seemed in magic tones to hear. Don't weep, my child. No use in steeping a voiceless corpse with tears unsleeping. Such tears are no life-giving dew. They simply cloud your eyes. Such weeping burns up complexion's virgin hue. He's far from here. He's past all knowing. From him your grief can earn no praise. Celestial radiance now is glowing before his incorporeal gaze. For him heaven's choirs are now intoning what are life's paltry dreams, the oppressed tears of a poor young girl, her groaning to the celestial country's guest. No mortal creature should be reckoned, whatever be his lot, as worth, believe me, for a single second, your grief, my angel of the earth. On the heaven's ethereal ocean, rudderless, without a sail, starry choirs in ordered motion calmly float through vapor's veil, over heaven's unbounded spaces, unattainable, unheard, leaving after them no traces, past the clouds in fleecy herd. Times for meeting or leave-taking bring them neither joy nor pain. Future brings them no wish-making, past no will to live again. In the grievous hour of sorrows, they are what you should recall. Take no heed for earthly morrows. Be uncaring, like them all. As soon as night on the Caucasian summits has cast its mantle round, as soon as its bewitching suasion has stilled the world as if spellbound, as soon as on the cliffs there passes a night wind through the withered grasses, and hidden deep in them a bird cheerfully in the dark has stirred, as soon as, under vineyard railing, thirstily drinking the unfailing dewfall, the flower of night has bloomed, as soon as the gold moon has loomed silently from the mountain sill, looked at you sidelong in the still, then I shall fly to you and keep tryst with you till the day star flashes, and on the silk of your eyelashes I shall infuse the gold of sleep. Then the voice faded like illusion. The sound had come, the sound died out. She started up, she looked about, and inexpressible confusion reigned in her breast. Fear, grief, joy, doubt, compared to this were just delusion. Her feelings bubbled up in rout, her soul arose and snapped its shackles, while fire came racing through each vein. That voice, so strange, it raised the hackles, she thought she heard it speak again. Just before daybreak, welcome seeming, slumber had dimmed Tamara's gaze, and yet her mind was in a daze. Astonished with prophetic dreaming, a stranger, mute, through mists that curled, in beauty clad not of this world, came to her, leaned above her pillow, and in his glance was such a billow of love and grief that you'd infer all his compassion was for her. This was no angel to befriend her. This was no heaven-sent defender. No crown of iridescent beams adorned his forehead with its gleams, nor one of those who burn together in hell. No tortured sinner, no. He was like evening in clear weather, not day, nor night, not gloom, nor glow. Oh, Father, Father, cease from chiding, leave your Tamara free from threat. I weep, see how my tears are gliding, they've flowed for days, they're flowing yet. It's futile that from distant places suitors crowd hither to my side. Georgia abounds in maiden graces, My fate is to be no one's bride. Oh, Father, throw stern words away. You've noted how from day to day, victim of poison's curse, I'm fading. An evil dream past all evading torments me. There's no way to flee. I'm lost. It's pressing down on me. To holy sanctuary send me. Send me to cool my raging head, for there my Saviour will defend me. With him my anguish will be shed. No worldly joys can now deceive me, so in her shrine's protecting gloom, rather let some dim cell receive me, an early foretaste of the tomb. And so to a secluded holy cloister her parents took her. Dressed in a habiliment of lowly hair-shirting was that maiden breast. But even in her monastic twilling, under damask's figured gleam, still with the same illicit dream, just as before her heart was thrilling. At the altar, in the candle's glow, at moments of most solemn singing, or while the voice of prayer was ringing, would sound those tones she had to know. And where the dim cathedral lifted its vaulting, often would repair, soundless and traceless as the air, where the thin films of incense drifted, a star-like figure shining there. It called, it beckoned her. But where? Between two hills, in shade abounding, the sacred convent hid away in places and pollers tight surrounding. Sometimes when darkness came to stay on the ravine, a lamp, appearing in a faint glimmer through the clearing, revealed where that young singer lay. In shade that almond trees projected, sad crosses in their rows protected the voiceless graves. There the small birds in choirs of song rehearsed their words. Over the stones ran, bubbling, springing, fountains of water, chilled as ice, that under beetling cliffs would slice across the valley bed, and, singing, tumble on further through a scrub, whose bloom hoar-frosted every shrub. To northward mountain peaks were showing, and when aurora, early glowing, watches the smoky mists of blue rise from the valley, layer on layer, and when, face to the east as do, all the musicians call to prayer, and the clear voice of the bell tower wakens the people with its shaking in that pacific solemn hour, at which the Georgian maiden, taking her long and tapering pitcher, goes for water down the steep. There grows a mountain range, all capped in snows. Against the limpid heaven it throws a wall of lilac, past comparing, or in the sunset hour it's wearing a chasuble that darkly glows, and in the mountain stands, invading cloudland, the supreme peak by far, Kazbek, all turbaned in brocading, of Caucasus, the mighty Tsar. With guilty thoughts in crowding session, Tamara's deaf to the intercession of honest pleasures. In her eyes, the whole world's wrapped in shade and sadness. All things are cause for pain and madness, night's gloom or radiance of sunrise. No sooner has the chill infusion of sleepy nights flowed all around than she, in frenzy and confusion, before the icon falls to the ground. She weeps, and in the silent tension of night her sobs with apprehension trouble the wayfarer's attention. There groans some spirit of the height, chained in a cavern, sadly stirring. He listens hard through the still night, then gives his weary horse a spurring. Tamara at the window-sill stares at the distant scene, and still stares, languid, full of trepidation. She sits in lonely meditation. She sighs and waits the whole day. A whisper comes, "He's on his way." Her dreams, his manner of appearing, such flattery had not failed to reach her heart. His sad gaze, the endearing, the tender strangeness of his speech, herself not knowing rhyme or reason, She's pined and languished many days. Her heart may wish to pay in season to holy saints. To him it prays, worn out by struggle unabating. If she lies down on slumber's bed, her pillow burns. She's suffocating. She starts up, shivering with dread. Her breast, her shoulders flame. She races to breathe. She chokes, mists in her eyes. Her arms are thirsting for embraces, and on her lips a kiss that dies. Now George's mountains had been vested in airy robes of twilight hue. Down to the cloister, as suggested by his sweet want, the demon flew. And yet he shrank, long minutes through. He stared back from violating the peace in which that shrine was waiting. There was a moment when he dreamed of giving up his grim designing. Around the high wall, brooding, pining, he roamed without a breeze. It seems the leaves had stirred from his returning. In shade he looked up. Her undone window displays a lantern burning. She's long been waiting for someone. And now, amid the silence ringing, Shingar's harmonious complaining lilted, and strains of song began. They flowed, these sounds, they ran and ran, they pressed, like tears, hard on each other. So tender was that song, you'd find that up in heaven, for mankind, its melodies had been designed. Perhaps to a forgotten brother, some angel, moved to meet again, had flown in stealth and raised this strain to alleviate the other's pain. Songs where time past found sweet narration? Love's swooning and love's agitation. For the first time the demon now experienced them. In shock and shiver he thinks of fleeing, but no quiver stirs in his wing. From his dimmed brow a heavy teardrop, a slow river. What marvel! Till today, quite near that cell, there stands in wondrous fashion a stone scorched by a tear of passion, burns through by an inhuman tear. And, as he enters, love is winning. His soul is opened to the good. He thinks, for life a new beginning has come, as he had prayed it would. The vague alarm of expectation, the unspoken fear of the unknown, as if at a first confrontation to that proud soul had now been shown. Then comes a grim prefiguration. He enters. There in front of him, heaven's envoy, the cherubim, radiant on his protective mission, keeps the fair sinner from all things evil, defends her from perdition, inside the shadow of his wings. And sudden light from heaven downbeating blinded the demon's unclean sight. Instead of a sweet-spoken greeting, heavy rebuke was prompt to smite. O soul of evil, soul unsleeping, in midnight gloom, what tryst is keeping? None of your votaries are here. No breeze of ill has dared to roister till now in this my well-loved cloister. So bring no wicked footsteps near. Who summoned you? A crafty sneer was demon's manner of replying. All red with envy was his look, and once more in his soul, undying, hate's poison brew began to cook. She's mine! Cried out the grim contender. Release her, for you come too late to serve as her defender and stand in judgment on her fate or mine. On her proud soul, I tell you, I have affixed my seal above, so from your cloister I repel you. This is my kingdom, here I love. And on the victim, now past saving, the angel cast a sorrowing eye, and slow as snow, with piteous waving, was drowned in the ethereal sky. Tamara. Who are you, tempter tongue? What duty brings you to me? From heaven? From hell? What do you want of me? Demon. Your beauty. Tamara. Tell me, who are you? Answer, tell. Demon. He to whose voice with rapt attention you listened in the still midnight, whose grief you guessed at, whose intention spoke to your soul, whose vague dimension you saw in dreaming, who can blight hopes with one glance and bring them crashing, whom no one loves, who lives for lashing his earthly slaves with furious beat, the king of freedom and cognition, heaven's foe and nature's own perdition, and yet you see him at your feet. I bring a message of devotion, a prayer of love, for you I've kept my first pains of earthbound emotion, and the first tears I ever wept. Oh, hear me out, oh, have some notion of pity. Back to heaven you with just a single word could send me, with your love's radiance to defend me. Thus vested, I'd stand here a new angel, with a new gleam to attend me. Oh, only hear me out, I pray, I love you like a slave. The day when I set eyes on you there started in me a secret but wholehearted hatred for my immortal sway. I found I envied such deficient happiness as exists down here. All life not yours was insufficient, all life away from you brought fear. Then in my dull heart, unexpected, a glow began to warm and wake. Deep in an old wound and undetected, grief started stirring like a snake. What, without you, is life a turtle? What are my boundless reams infernal? Just empty words, a loud discord, a vast cathedral with no lord. Tamara. Deceitful spirit, you must leave me. Be still, I'll not believe the foe. Oh, my creator, grief and woe. No prayer comes out, my wits deceive me. They falter, gripped by venom's ire. Listen, you pile up doom above me with words of poison and of fire. Tell me the reason why you love me. Demon. The reason why, fair one, you said. Alas, I know it not. Elated with new life from my guilty head, the thorny crown I relegated, threw in the ashes all my days. My heaven, my hell are in your gaze. I love you with no earthly passion, I love you that you could never know, with raptures in the towering fashion of an immortal heart and mind. On my sad soul, from world's first eon, deeply your image was impressed. Ever before me it progressed through wastes of timeless empyrean. My thoughts had long been stirred and racked by just one name of passing sweetness. My days in paradise had lacked just your perfection for completeness. If you could guess, if you could know how much it costs in tribulation throughout the ages' long gradation to take one's pleasure, suffer woe, to expect no praise for evil, no prize for good deeds, what condemnation to live for self, by self be bored in endless struggle, no reward, no crown, no reconciliation, to regret all, to seek no prize, to know, feel, see things forever, to seek to hate the world, whatever there may be in it, to despise. As soon as I from heaven's employment was banned by curses, from that day all nature's warmth and sweet enjoyment grew chilled forever, froze away. Blue before me stretched the spaces I saw apparelled in their places, like wedding guests the light I knew, crowned, gliding one behind another, and yet their former friend and brother not one would recognize anew. So, in despair, the expatriated, the outcasts I began to call, but faces, words, and looks that hated, I failed to recognize them all. And so, in horror, wings inflected, I swooped away, but whither, why, I know not. I had been rejected by my old friends. Like Adam, I found the world gone deaf, mute, and dry. So at the current's free impulsion, a helpless and storm-crippled boat, sailless and rudderless, will float, knowing no goal for its propulsion. So at the earliest morning tide, a scrap of thundercloud will ride. In heaven's azure vaults, the only visible speck, unhalting, lonely, will without trace and without sense fly God knows whither, God knows whence. Briefly, I guided mankind's thoughts. Briefly, the ways of sin I taught, discredited what's noble, brought everything beautiful to naught. Briefly, the flame of all committed belief in man I firmly drowned. But was it worthwhile to confound just hypocrites and the half-witted? I hid where the ravens run deep. I started, meteor-like, to sweep on course through midnight's darkest glooming. A lonely wayfarer was looming, enticed by a near lamp, to fall over the cliff edge, horse and all. Vainly he called out, bloody traces followed him down the mountainside. But hatred's tricks, its sad grimaces, brought me a solace that soon died. How often, locked in dusty battle with some great hurricane, in shroud of mist and lightning I would rattle and swoop and storm amid the cloud, and hope in elemental churning to stifle all my heart's regret, to escape from thoughts that kept returning, the unforgotten to forget. What is the sum of privations, the labours and the grief of man, of past, of future generations, compared with just 1 minute's span of all my untold tribulations? What is man's life, his labour? Why, he's passed, he's died, he'll pass and die. His hopes on judgment day rely, sure judgment, possible forgiving. But my sorrow is endless. I am damned to sorrow ever living, for it no grave in which to doze. Sometimes snake-like it creeps or glows, like flame it crackles, blazes, rushes, or like a tomb it chokes and crushes, a granite tomb for the repose of ruined passions, hopes, and woes. Tamara. Why should I share your griefs, your inner torments? Why listen to your moan? You've sinned. Demon. Towards you, I'm no sinner. Tamara. Someone will hear us. Demon. We're alone. Tamara. And God? Demon. Won't glance at us. Eternal for heaven, but not for earth, his care. Tamara. And punishment? And pains infernal? Demon. What of them, if we both are there? Tamara. Sufferer, stranger friend, unwilling, whoever you may be, I find your words set secret pleasure thrilling, ceaselessly they disturb my mind. But if there's cunning in your story, if there's a secret, wicked goal, oh, have some mercy. Where's the glory to you? What value is my soul? In heaven's eye could I be reckoned dearer than those you spurned instead? They too are beauties, though unbeckoned. As here, no mortal for a second has dared defile their maiden bed. Swear me a fateful oath. In anguish I bid you swear. See how I languish. You know the stuff of women's dreams. Instinctively you soothe my terrors. You understand my ways, my errors, and you'll have pity for that redeems. Swear it. From evil machinations you'll cease forever. Swear it now. Have you no oaths, no adjurations? Have you no single sacred vow? Demon. By the first day of our creation, I swear, and by its final night, I swear by evil's condemnation, and by the triumph of the right, by downfall, with its bitter smarting, by victories I dream to score, by bliss of seeing you once more, and by the threat of once more parting, I swear by all the souls of those who serve me in predestined fashion, I swear by my unsleeping foes, by heaven, by hell, by earth's profession of holiness, and by your head, I swear by your last look's expression, I swear by the first tear you shed, the air your sweet lips are inhaling, those silky curls that wave above, I swear by bliss and by travelling, I swear, believe it, by my love. Old plans of vengeance and destruction I have renounced, and dreams of pride, henceforth, by evil's sly seduction, no human spirit shall be tried. With heaven I seek to end my warring, to live for praying and adoring, to live for faith in all that's good. Tears of repentance as they should will from my forehead, thus deserving your virtues, wash off heaven's brand, and may the world, calm, unobserving, flourish untroubled by my hand. Till now you found apprehension at your true worth from me alone. I chose you for my adoration, laid at your feet my realms, my throne. I need your love. My benefaction to you will be eternal life. In love, just as in evil action, I'm strong and quite unmoved by strife. With me, free son of the ethereal, to stellar regions you'll be whirled. You're fated to be my imperial consort and first queen of the world. Then, without pity, without caring, you'll learn to look down at the earth, where no true bliss and no long-wearying beauty exist, which brings to birth only misdeeds and retribution, where only paltry passions live, where love and hate, without dilution by fear, are past man's power to give. Surely you know how short and fleeting is human love's ephemeral rule. Just for a flash, young blood is heating. Then days go flying, blood runs cool. Who can stand up to pain of parting, or to new beauty's tempting gleams, to weariness or boredom starting, or to the waywardness of dreams? Be sure that you were never fated, my consort, to destroy your bloom and fade away incarcerated, enslaved in envy's narrow room, amongst the cold and the small-minded, the false friends and the open foes, the fears, the toils that vainly grinded, the fruitless hopes, the crushing woes. No, pitifully, without passion, you'll not expire. In prayer, behind high walls, removed in equal fashion from God and from all humankind. Oh, no, you wonder of creation, a different destiny is yours. You face a different tribulation and different bliss in bounteous stores. Give up all previous ambition, renounce the fate of this sad world. Instead, a lofty, splendid mission before your eyes will be unfurled. A host of souls who owe me duty I'll bring, I'll throw them at your feet. Magically for you, my beauty, handmaids will labor, deft and fleet for you. From the eastern star I'll ravish a golden crown, I'll take for you from flowers the midnight dew, and lavish upon your crown that self-same dew. I'll bring a sunset ray, ecstatic, I'll clasp it, belt-like round your waist, with breath of healing aromatic, the airs around you will be laced. All day the strains of heavenly playing will lull your hearing with their tune. I'll build you halls with an inlaying of turquoise, rooms with amber strewn. I'll sound the bottom of the ocean, high up above the clouds I'll climb. All that's earthly my devotion will give you. Love me. And this time, with ardent lips so lightly grazing, he kissed her trembling mouth, and then answered her pleas in language dazing with sweet temptation. Once again, those mighty eyes were fixed and gazing deep into hers. He set her blazing. He gleamed above her like a spark, or like a knife that finds its mark. That devil triumphed. In the dark, alas, to her bosom the infernal poison of his embrace could pierce. A cry resounded, tortured, fierce, troubling the stillness nocturnal. In it were love and pain's hard kernel, reproaches, a last desperate prayer, and then a hopeless and eternal farewell to life. All these were there. Meanwhile, alone, the watchman pacing past the steep walls serenely made his nightly duty round, embracing the iron gong that told his trade, and near the cell of that young sinner he slowed the measure of his tread. Above the gong, his hand in inner puzzlement poised, he halted dead, and through the stillness all around him he thought he heard an undertone, two mouths that kissed. Then it came to astound him, a short, sharp cry, a feeble moan, and a detestable suspicion pierced to the old man's heart. But stay, a moment passed in this condition, and all was silent. Far away, only a breeze began to play, and brought the sound of leaves that rustled. In its dark bed, the torrent bustled, and sadly murmured on its way. In fear, the old night watchman hurries to say a text from Holy Writ, and chase the wicked thought that worries with its bad spell his sinful wit. He crosses with his quavering fingers a breast disturbed by reverie's force. In silence, he no longer lingers, but goes his customary course. Like a sweet peri sleeping lightly, she lay inside her coffin now, cleaner than counterpane and whitely blooming, the dull hue of her brow. Lowered forever were her lashes, but heavens, who would not have supposed the eyes beneath them simply dozed, and marvelously just reposed, waiting a kiss or day star's flashes? But fruitlessly the light of day poured on them all its golden ray. Her parents' lips kissed them, but vainly in speechless sorrow. All too plainly, from them there's nothing has the power to tear death's seal off at this hour. Never in a festal's day's confusion had sweet Tamara been so dressed, in such bright hues, so rich a vest, flowers from her valley in profusion. Such is tradition's strict behest. Above her shed their perfume pressed. In her death hand they looked like making farewell to earth, a last leave-taking, and nothing in her face implied to onlookers how she had died, in blaze of rapture and of passion. No, all her features were instilled with a calm beauty that was chilled, expressionless in marble fashion, blank of all thought, of feeling's breath, impenetrable, just like death. And a strange smile that had come fleeting across her lips was frozen cold, of grief and much heartbreak. On meeting any perceptive eye, it told. It carried cool contempt's impression, the scorn of one prepared to die. It carried a last thought's expression, and, to the earth, a dumb goodbye. Of life now gone, a vain reflection, deader than those death sets apart. Of eyes grown dim, a recollection, even more hopeless for the heart. Just as at sunset's grave occasion, far on the skyline, the Caucasian snow ranges, when in molten gold day's chariot founders, iridescent, their radiance for a moment hold, in dark of distant incandescent, and yet this half-dead light can show no glimmer down to the benighted desert, and no one's path is lighted by gleams those icy summits throw. Now every neighbour, each relation, for the sad pilgrimage is bound, his grey locks all in laceration, beating his breast without a sound. For the last time Goodall has mounted his faithful, his white-crested horse, and the cortege begins its course. 3 days and 3 nights must be counted to reach the calm refuge she shares with bones of her long-dead forebears. of every traveller and each village, the scourge and ancestor of hers, chained down by illness, all his pillage, repented, history so avers, wished for past crimes to win redemption, and vowed to build a minster right on top of a gigantic height, where blizzard's dirge had the preemption, where no bird ventured but the kite. And soon from Kazbek snows a lonely temple arose, and on the crest the bones of that wrongdoer only in such a scene could find new rest. So to a graveyard was converted that rock, the king of clouds on high, as if, the nearer to the sky, the tomb was warmer, or averted and shut away from human gaze, as if death's sleep was sounder seeming. Vain hope, for dead men there's no dreaming, the joys, the griefs of earlier days. A holy angel through ethereal immensities of heaven's blue winged it on golden pinions, who was carrying off from things material a sinful spirit as he flew, and with sweet words of consolation and hope he scattered all her doubt, all trace of crime and tribulation, with flowing tears he washed it out. Already from far off there swept them homeward the sounds of heavenly bliss, when there flew up to intercept them a hellish soul from the abyss. He was as mighty as the roaring whirlwind, as lightning did he shine. Proudly and with insanely soaring audacity he cried, "She's mine!" Tamara's sinful soul was riding, tight-gripped, against her guardian's breast. By prayer her terrors were suppressed, and now her fate was for deciding. Again she stood before her eyes, but God, too engaged to recognize. So evil was the whole impression, so full of poison and aggression and endless hatred. In a wave, the demon's motionless expression breathed out the coldness of the grave. "Begone, dark spirit of denial," so heaven's ambassador replied. "For long enough your wicked pride has triumphed. God will now decide. For this is judgment hour. Her trial is past. The days of test by fire, with earth's corruptible attire. From evil's thrall she's liberated. Her soul is ours, and long awaited. Her spirit, one of those by right, whose life on earth is to be reckoned, a flash of sharpest pain, a second of unattainable delight. Woven by God from an ethereal substance are all her vital strings. They were not made for things material, nor made for them material things. In cruel, costly expiation, she has atoned for all her doubt. She suffered love and tribulation, and heaven for love has opened out." The angel, with stern gaze, unsleeping, stared at the tempter. Then on high, his piteous, joyful, unsweeping, merged in the radiance of the sky. Vanquished, the demon execrated his reveries, and their mad scope was left once more to his inflated arrogance, left there isolated in all the world. No love, no hope. Above Koi Shore's ravine, where climbs the mountain through its rocky stages, there stands, preserved to modern times, a jagged wreck from bygone ages. About it, tales for children's ears, too frightful, linger in tradition. And voiceless as an apparition, witness of those uncanny years, it lifts, through trees, its blackened towers. Below, the Aiel houses spill. The earth is green and bright with flowers. A hum of voices grows, falls still, lost in the distance, and the tinkling caravan bells sound far away, while through the vapors, gleaming, twinkling, the river shoots in foam and spray. And vital, youthfully eternal, loving the sunshine and the vernal coolness, old nature frolics there, just like a child without care. But the sad castle, after giving long years of duty service, ends as some poor old man does, outliving all of his dear ones and his friends. Only its unseen dwellers, waiting for moonrise, then begin to stir. Then is their time for celebrating. They buzz, they scurry, and they whir. A spider, anchorite beginner, works at his web, the grey old spinner. Up on the roof a jolly pack of lizard families are brawling. A canny snake from his dark crack comes out punctiliously crawling across the flags of the old stair. Now in 3 coils he gathers there, and now in one long streak he's creeping, just like a blade, all bright and steeled, forgot on some old battlefield. No use to heroes dead and sleeping. All's wild, nowhere is any trace of years gone by. No, in this place time's hand has long been busy sweeping. Nothing there is that now recalls the glorious state Goodall was keeping with his sweet daughter in these halls. But the church on the mountain tower, where to the earth their bones were vowed, kept safely by some sacred power, can still be seen amidst the cloud. By the church door, on sentry go, a line of black granite boulders, with snowy mantles on their shoulders, where as breastplate against the foe, eternal's ice's glittering snow. Relics of landslide, dreaming masses, like waterfalls, grooved with crevasses, hang down where they were snapped and caught by frost, as if in frowning thought. And there the blizzard goes patrolling, puffing snow dust from those grey walls, now setting a lament a-rolling, now answering with sentry calls. And hearing in some far direction of a famed minster in this land, from eastward clouds in serried band hurry to make their genuflection. But on that cycle of tombstones no one now weeps, and no one moans. There Casbeck's cliff, in dour ill humour, locks up its booty far from harm, and mankind's everlasting rumour troubles not that eternal calm. Despite everything, and after it's all said and done, at the end of the day, and the end of my wits, there is the you. Always you. Endlessly you. Sad, miserable, pitiful, tiresome, worthless, center of my world. You. You with your teeth on my heart. You out of touch and out of reach.